Basic Christianity. Today we're going to talk about sin. Welcome to BDF Preparedness. Alright guys, and we're back. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it here. I'm going to try to keep her short, bite-sized like always, but I've got a little bit to go over here. A couple quick tips. Okay, today I've got the EDC Bible, and that is NIV, and I went ahead and brought the Tactical Bible. Yes, this is my big study Bible. This is my King James, and I wanted to show you guys real quick. This is a study Bible. Okay, what that means is, and I'm going to try to do this, it's got the word, okay, but down at the bottom you can kind of see, where is it at? Yeah, okay, this little line right here. Up top is the Bible, down here is the commentary on that. I really recommend it for new Christians, or maybe you're not a new Christian, maybe you're just young in the faith. You have a hard time understanding things. The study Bible is amazing. Okay, it really is. Mine is a Matthew Henry commentary. There's many different kinds. I really like the Matthew Henry. He's old school. Yeah, he's been dead for a long time. But with the commentary Bibles, it can break down the culture of the time, why the ways people spoke, what different traditions they had, and what that meant. So that when you're reading, it's like, well, why did they do this? That doesn't make any sense. Well, if you can read down in the commentary, it kind of elaborates and gives you a little bit of backstory as why things are going on. So I really recommend the study Bibles to anyone. If you don't have a study Bible, you can tell it's big. I was carrying it every day, and I mean, that sucker's heavy. But it's got a lot of good information. And I started carrying, I found this at thrift store, my little EDC Bible. And what I can do is I can still read from this, and if something's not quite clicking, or I want to do a little more research, I can check out with my study Bible and break it down more. Also, on top of that, my little notebook here, you guys probably can't tell, but like the pages are yellowed. I've had this for a long time, and I started doing this so that when I came across a passage in scripture that I wanted to remember, I could do that. And what I started doing was, let me flip here, I got different things in here. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Where's the one I was going to show you guys? Sorry, stand by, guys. I know, eating up valuable seconds here. Okay, here we go. I've written down, if you guys can see, I've kind of titled it where it's found, and then I actually write down what it is. Like the one I have here is, I titled it Happy with Our Trials, and it's James 1 verses 2 through 4, and it talks about being happy with your trials, the things that are tempting you, which might seem kind of silly, but we're definitely going to go over that one day too. But I recommend get you a notebook, get you something, and keep track of that stuff, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I remember it said that in there, but then I can't remember where it's at. With this, I can just flip back through and I'm like, that's what I was wanting to find. Okay, so getting in today, sin. Okay, what is sin? Where'd it come from? Whole 9 yards. So let's start off with what is sin? Sin basically is disobedience to God. Okay, in a nutshell, that's what it is. And I'm going to save that for later. Where did sin start? Okay, where did sin come from? And what we're going to do is we're going to flip to Romans, and it's going to be chapter 5, verse 12. And it says, "Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, and in this way death came to all men because all sinned." Okay, so sin entered the world through one man. That was Adam, boys and girls. Yeah, when Eve gave him the old fruit and he ate it, that was when it started. In fact, before that moment, man was immortal. We don't know how long Adam walked in the garden with God. And that was also when we got separated from God. Sin causes that separation from God. It talks about Adam and God had just strolled through the gardens, talking, everything else. Today we have that separation from God. And we're going to swing back around to that, but that's where sin came in. And because of Adam, that falls down to us. Okay, so where sin comes from. And next thing I want to touch on is everybody sins. Okay, and let's go ahead and start with Psalms. And I gotta flip. Where is it at? I don't know, seconds ticking by here. And it's going to be Psalms 51, verse 5. Okay, here we go. "Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me." Okay, you can't get away from sin, guys. It says we were sinful at birth. In fact, we were sinful from the time we were conceived. Okay, so you can't get away from it. It's there. Okay, it's always been there with us. And we're going to touch on one more, and I love this next verse. I've had it written down forever. We're going to flip over to Ecclesiastes, and I always hate trying to say that. I always feel like I'm going to mess it up. But it's going to be Ecclesiastes 7:20. Okay, where are we at? We got 7:20. Okay. "There is not a righteous man on earth who does what is right and never sins." There is not a righteous man on earth who does what is right and never sins. So, I want to tell you guys, you ever hear somebody say, "Oh, I never sin"? No, they're a liar. They just sin right then. Everybody sins, guys. And I want to kind of break it down like two types of sin. Okay, if you're into theology and all that, I think they break it down into 3 different ones. For me right now, this is just kind of break it down into 2 different types. The first, which the one you really got to watch, is that premeditated sin, that this is what I'm going to do. I know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. You go out on a Saturday night with your buddies, and you're going to have some fun, right? You're going to party. You see a decent looking woman there, and You already know what's going through your head. That's that premeditated sin. I'm going to go do that. Now with the other type of sin, that's the not planning it out. It's just kind of instantaneous. Okay. That's, well, once again, okay. For the guys out here, I can speak to that because I'm a guy. You're driving down the road and you see a attractive lady walking down the street, and you admire that. Well, you weren't planning on going to find somebody to look at and have these thoughts about. It just kind of happens. What we want to do as Christians, okay, because we all sin, we've already talked about that. We all sin, and we're not going to get away from that. But what we can do is try to stay away from the premeditated sin. Okay, that is, as a Christian, what we should be striving to do. That's why, and I'm going to hit on this, and this might upset some folks, but I'm going to do it anyway. The homosexuality, okay, and the reason why I hit on this is because it's low-hanging fruit. Okay, it's easy. I know there are some churches that have accepted that and even had homosexual pastors. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, that is wrong, okay? Now, with that being said, I like to ask people this question to kind of either make them think about things a little bit or just kind of enlighten them. Is, you're going to church, and this homosexual couple comes and wants to attend a service. Do you let them do that? The answer is yes, you do. Okay, we are supposed to try to bring sinners in so that they can understand and be saved. We want everybody to be saved. Don't care who it is. Okay, but here's the other issue. Okay, now, so you've let them come into the service, and they've been coming for a while. They really like the church, and all of a sudden they want to become members of that church. And that's where it gets really tricky, okay? They have no urge in stopping what they're doing, changing their lifestyle. This is how God made them, okay? And that's where the problem is, okay? We shouldn't shun anybody from coming to church. Please don't do that. But when it comes to them continuing that sin, knowing that it's sin and they're doing anyway. And it's not just homosexuality, guys. If you know people, and this couple and this guy beats his wife all the time, when it comes time down to vote for membership, you know what I mean? The guy needs counseling. He needs to talk to the elders of the church. He might need other help as well. But as far as accepting someone in when they're doing that constant sin that they know that they're doing, and they're not willing to change it, people that there's nothing wrong with pornography, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just looking, I'm not touching. Well, you know, Jesus says if you look after a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed sin with her already. Okay, so yeah, that is not right. So that's where you have to differentiate. Yes, come to church, but when it comes to accepting God, becoming a member of that church, they have to understand that we are supposed to do everything that we can not to sin. Now, we're going to sin every day, okay? That's just the way it is. But we have to try to limit that stuff. So I know I spoke on that for a little bit, so I'm going to try to move on here because we're already like 13 minutes in. Where was I wanting to go next? Okay, so we know how sin came into the world. We know that everybody sins. Righteous man does good, and yeah, he sins all the time. Okay, so let's talk about, we know that sin is disobedience from God. What we spoke about and what it means to be a Christian we spoke about what Jesus said the two most important commandments were, and we're just going to hit those real quick. So if you haven't watched that other video, you've got it, and it's going to be Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 39. Where are we at here? Okay. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. They've asked Jesus what the most important commandment is. And his answer is, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, so that is, per Jesus, our commandments. Okay, if we break those, we have sinned. Okay, so you look after that woman, yes, you have committed, because that is a sin. You have idols before God, yes, that is a sin. All that. Okay, so put God in there, put God first, love him with everything you got, and love your neighbor as yourself. You violate those, that's a sin. Okay, now where was I wanting to go? Okay, 2 types of sin, we got that done. Now, we know how sin came into the world. We have discussed that everyone sins and what Jesus says we should be doing, okay? So let's get to the good news. Okay, man, we sin every day. Okay, well, let's get to the good news here. And we're back in Romans, and it's going to be chapter 5, verses 18 through 19. Okay, and you got to love this. Consequently, there we go, just as the result of one trespass was condemnation for all men, so also the result of one act of righteousness was justification that brings life for all men. Just as through the disobedience of one man the many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of one man that many will be made righteous. So, Adam started us off. He messed us up. Dang, Adam. Adam messed us up. And Jesus saved us, guys. It came in with Adam, and Jesus washed it away when he died for our sins. And those sins, past, present, future, guys. That's why we don't have to constantly be asking forgiveness. If we did, we would be constantly asking forgiveness. We are supposed to confess our sins and ask God to forgive us. But God's not going to spank us if, we were driving down the road and we saw that attractive woman and we had some impure thoughts, and all of a sudden a truck T-bones us. That's not going to keep us from going to heaven. Jesus' blood washed away past, present, and future sins. So that is pretty much real quick, bite-sized sin. What is sin? Where did it come from? Just remember that as Christians, we are to strive to be like Christ. He was sinless. We are to try to do the best we can to not sin. But remember those type of sin, that premeditated, you got to get out of that. And it's tough, okay? I wasn't going to touch on this, but I'll hit it real quick. I spoke with many people over the years. A lot of them sinners. Okay, well, we're all sinners, enjoyed the sin. And a lot of them, they hated the sin. And that we are supposed to hate the sin as Christians. These guys really did. I've had people that they have had serious problems with sin in their life, and they struggled daily not to do it. Okay? I think we all kind of have something that we fight against, something that we're constantly at odds with. Like I myself, I don't have a problem with alcoholism. I don't have a problem with pornography. I'm not homosexual, but I have my own problems, okay, that I struggle with. So that's not to say that somebody else's struggles are better or worse than mine. Well, I'm a better Christian than you because I don't watch that filth. Guys, we all sin. We all have the things we fight against, so we have to remember that. And when you're talking to your brothers and your sisters out there, talk to them in love, try to help them through it. They know what they're doing, and they're struggling with this. So don't condemn them, don't look down your nose, okay? Try to help them through it. They already know what's wrong, just help them along. So we will wrap that up. If you guys are digging the videos, and yes, I'm going to be getting back to the preparedness videos here before too long. With it being 20 degrees and snowy, it's kind of tough to get out a little bit. No, it's not. Now's the time to do that. Yeah, I hear you. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. If you like the videos, share them with someone. These videos on our basic Christianity. If there's someone in your life that maybe could use this, something like that, make sure you share it with them, and maybe it'll help some people out. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you after a while.